Hello everybody, my name is Lina. Welcome to this weirdly specific recommendations video. So, I'm that person who is actually kind of obsessed with monsters, but especially in books. I love monsters in books. If I know that there are monsters in your book, I'm going to read it 100%. So today I wanted to give you some recommendations. The books that I'm going to recommend are kind of specific. In these books, monsters are basically a part of the world. Humans know monsters exist. Absolutely every human knows that. So that's why I'm not going to include like vampire books or anything like that. No, these are kind of monsters. Monsters, like not really smart monsters. You know what I mean. So that's why I'm not going to include the trilogues of The Wheel of Time. The first one is going to be kind of obvious. Let me introduce you to the Witcher series by Andrzej Sapkowski. I'm pretty sure everyone knows this right now. Geralt is basically a witcher and he hunts monsters for a living. So in here we have kind of a more animal type of monster. I have read the first 3 books in the Witcher series. I read the 2 short story collections and the first novella. I haven't continued yet because the first novella wasn't my favorite, but either way, I love the video game, obsessed with it, and I really enjoy this type of monster. I don't know why, and just like, hunting them, killing them. Fairly similar to this one, although I haven't read it yet, but I do own it. The Irate Night by Miles Cameron. I haven't read this one. For what I understand, we basically have this band of mercenaries that are paid to hunt, monsters in a way similar to the Witcher monsters, but in here they are not quite as magical. For example, in The Witcher we have weird ghost type of monsters and we don't have them in here. They are more like animal type. See, there's a dragon and a cover. Well, it's a wyvern, but we are not going to get specific here. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this one, and this is a weird series because every book grows smaller. I don't know why, but yeah. I'm going to show you all the covers because every single one of them has different monster on them and it's really cool. I don't have this particular copy with me here, but of course I'm going to recommend you The Demon Cycle by Peter B. Brett because it's fucking amazing and everyone who loves fantasy should read it, apart from loving monsters, In this one, basically, we have more like demons than monsters. Depending on where in the world you're going to have different type of monsters. If you live in this kind of village lost in the middle of the forest, most of the monsters that you're going to encounter are wood-based. On the other hand, if you live on the desert, you're going to find more like sand demons and such. This series is fantastic. You should definitely pick it up because it's absolutely great. Then I also have here the Deathless by Peter Newman. This is kind of more similar to the Demon Cycle, where we have this path where monsters are not allowed to intrude, but they basically lurk in the shadows of the forest in this entire realm. They're more on the terrifying side of really scary demons and monsters, and they are more kind of magical than The Red Knight and The Witcher. It's a really weird series. I have only read the first one, but the second one came out last year, and it's kind of weird because basically the world is separated between houses, and these houses are basically named after gems and such. It's really cool. I highly recommend. Then, in a kind of similar tone, we have Ravencry. Well, not Ravencry, because this is the second book. Black Wind by Ed McDonald. This has more like post-apocalyptic feel. Basically, magic kind of went kaboom in this world, and we have this completely desolate area where really weird, disgusting monsters are. They are fucking scary. The opening scene in the first one is terrifying. They're basically hunting like kind of a demon child, and it's terrifying because it's people. But yeah, this is kind of more, as I've told you, in the post-apocalyptic and horror side, more than this, and definitely more than the Deathless or the Demon Cycle. I have a really weird relationship with the first one because I really enjoyed it, but I didn't find myself really drawn to the sequel. I felt like it was pretty close with that ending, but either way, the monsters are terrifying, and you don't want to go to that place. Then we also have this Savage Son by V. Schwab, and I have also read the first book, but not the second yet. In this world, we have this kind of, again, more terrifying monster, but because they are basically created out of humanity's sins. So when a really bad act is committed, monsters are created in this world. They have this kind of philosophical layer to it that is just like, don't do bad things, I won't consider this horror like at all. This is actually a YA fantasy, and the first one was surprisingly good. I wasn't really sure that I was going to enjoy it, but the characters and the world building in general was really good for me at the time. In this one, we also have different type of monsters. We have this kind of basic monsters basically created by small sins, and then we have these evil creatures created by terrible sins that basically lure people with music. Usually, V. Schwab has a really good writing style and pretty easy to follow, so I highly recommend. Then, for a book that I haven't read, this is the Smoke Thieves by Sally Green. I had no idea that this book contained demons. Apparently in this world, they basically hunt demons to basically collect their essence or something like that, and I had no idea that this book was about that, because I would have bought it sooner. I haven't read this one. I'm planning on reading it soon, because knowing that, I'm just really excited. I also think that this is more like the Demon Cycle than the other books, where we have demons there and people basically try to kill them. They are more like demons and not monsters, if you know what I mean. Oh, we also have the Wolfgang Trilogy by F.D. Gross. I'm including this here, even though I said that I wasn't going to include vampires, because in this world everyone knows that vampires exist and basically rule in this land, and everyone's just like, well, that's what life is like. What can I do? And we also have different type of monsters that are explored in the second book a little bit more than in the first one. I'm just going to include it here because it's actually a really entertaining series, and as I've said like a million times, it really reminds me of Castlevania. Then another self-published book that I have here is They Mostly Come Out at Night by Benedict Patrick. I read this really recently and I really enjoyed it. The monsters in this book were more like the demons in the Demon Cycle, but no, they're more like werewolves actually. As I told you, everyone in this realm knows that monsters come out at night and they basically hide in their cellar all night hoping they don't die. This novel was really interesting, and I mean, so short that you don't lose absolutely anything for trying. And the last thing that I want to recommend you is not actually a book, but a manga. This is Shingeki no Kyojin, and I mean, Attack on Titan. It's phenomenal. Basically, humanity is gathered in this gigantic city that is divided by these three walls, and we have humanoid creatures eating humans, and it's so terrifying. I cry every time that I see the first episode. It's so heartbreaking. We have these titans basically eating people, and then we also have the army basically constructed around killing these monsters. It is so good, and I highly recommend you watch the anime because it's one of the best animes I have ever seen. I would probably say that it's my favorite actually. Well, no, Psycho Pass is my favorite, but this manga and the anime is incredible and you should really read it. So yeah, those were all my recommendations for this video. There are probably tons out there that I didn't realize the moment I was making this video, but either way, I really hope you pick one of these up, especially the Smoke Thieves and the Irate Night, because I haven't read it and I would really like to know if they're actually as good as I think they are. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. I really hope you enjoyed it and I will see you in the next one. Bye!